Welcome, everyone. You've reached Grandma Mo, and appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button for me. Trying to grow the channel here, covering the WNBA. So this game was played Saturday. We had the Fever against the Sky, and this game, it was pretty close in the first half. I mean, Chicago was hanging in there, and with the Fever playing like they did the game before, it was, and then they lost Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald. They were without a true point guard. But Kelsey Mitchell's a great player. I was pretty confident in her being able to, handle the point guard duties. But my question was, is she going to still, be able to score? Because they need her to score. When she's scoring, the Fever do well. Well, she answered that one. She scored plenty, and the Fever ended up getting the win 90-72. But there was like a tide turned in this game, and it was right towards the end of the second quarter. There was a play that involved Aaliyah Boston, and she didn't, there was nothing egregious about what she did, but it was a charge. She got the ball down into the basket. Kia Nurse was standing right there, and she just blew her out. She just turned around, knocked her over, and no call. Not a charge, not a block. It was crickets. And my jaw hit the ground watching that. I'm like, oh my God, that was a charge. And the thing that surprised me was that Chicago didn't go absolutely, they argued a little bit, but, I was surprised they didn't really complain about that one. But then that led to a couple of other things that happened that all went against Chicago. And it wasn't so much that the Fever were doing anything wrong. It's just that, things that maybe should have been called didn't get called. And then I forget who it was. I think it was Kelsey Mitchell had gotten the ball, and something happened to one of the Chicago players. I watched this last night, so I'm not remembering exactly who was who. But Kelsey Mitchell started dribbling the ball up the court, and Ariel Atkins came in and basically gave her a transition take foul. And then she went, as soon as the whistle blew, she went right at the official and was like, hey, this needs to stop now. And that whole sequence between the Boston non-charge and things just started to unravel for Chicago. And you could see it in the players' faces. They didn't have it anymore. It was like, they were trying hard, and then everything goes against you, and you just kind of, but they did fight back in the fourth. It was worse than, let me look at the biggest lead. Biggest lead was 25, and well, they lost by 22. But Chicago did at least try and fight back from that. So the Fever get the win 90-72. They outscored Chicago 25-16 in the first and 23-21 in the second. And there were times where Chicago was leading in this game in the first half. But that whole sequence just... Then the Fever outscored them 26-17 in the third and then 18-16 in the fourth. So you had two players on Chicago that were in double figures, and those double figure points were 10 and 11. So it's not like somebody had 20 and 25. They had 10 and 11. And then Ariel Atkins had 8 points. Rebecca Ahlin had 9. Elizabeth Williams had 8. Cardoso only had 6. She ended up with 12 rebounds, but she needs way more than 6 points to be able to, keep Chicago in a game. She just was not, I don't know, she just looked like she was giving up at times, which is sad to see. She's a young player, and it's her second year, and she just got to go stronger to the hoop, and she looks to pass a lot, which, when you're 6'7", it's really easy to pass over the defense, but, it's also easy just to turn around and, keep the ball up over your head and just shoot it. So maybe something for her to work on in the future. So you had Oni Mwene had 7 points. She had 3 rebounds, an assist, 2 turnovers. And the other thing is that Chicago had 13 turnovers, which isn't atrocious, but Indiana only had 7. So, and then Indiana had 17 points off those 13 turnovers, and Chicago only got 6 off the 7. So, let's see. Points in the paint, Indiana out-rebounded them 26-36. Second chance points were even. Indiana had more fast break points, 13-9. And then the biggest lead was 25. And Chicago had a 4-point lead early in the first quarter or second quarter, somewhere in there. Let's see. Haley Van Lith got in. She hit a 3 and a foul shot, and I think one other hoop. Uzin, she only played 4 minutes in this one. She had 3 points. Maddie Westbeld had 10. She did okay. She had 6 rebounds. She was 2 for 4 from 3, 4 for 8 overall. Kia Nurse only had 2 points. She was 1 for 7. I'm sure it took her a lot to come back from that, because she really got hit hard in that Boston play, and it was fairly, it was in the second quarter. So, but she got hit a couple times. There was a couple plays where she just got picked or something. It was a bad night for Kia Nurse. So Rebecca Allen, 9 points. She had 2 rebounds and 1 assist. She was 4 for 7, 1 for 3 from 3. Ariel Atkins had 8 points. Chicago needs more from her too. She was 2 for 5 from 3 and 3 for 8. She needs to take more than 8 shots. And then Rachel Banham had 11 points. She was 4 for 8. Cardoso was 3 for 8. She had 6 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Elizabeth Williams, she was 4 for 12. She needs to shoot, because she's usually in close to the basket. She needs more than, she's got to shoot better than that. She had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, a steal and a block. Cardoso also had a block. That was, for, as tall as she is, Chicago only had 2 whole blocks the whole game. And let's see. That was pretty much it for Chicago. And they shot 38% from the field and 34% from 3. But they only went to the foul line 4 times. 4 times. Rebounds. They out-rebounded. Well, that's weird. Oh, that was points in the paint. Okay. They out-rebounded Indiana 40-38. So that was still pretty close. So Lexie Hull, very nice game for Lexie. 17 points. She had 3 steals. She had a turnover, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. She was 3 for 3 from the foul line, 4 for 6 from 3, and 5 for 9 overall. I like to see her because she's, especially when Clark was in the game, and this game, she, her and Sophie Cunningham really had to step up their games, which they both did. Sophie Cunningham had 16 points. But she doesn't look to shoot, and the only way to get confident as a shooter is to keep shooting. So, hopefully her confidence will grow from this, and she can continue doing this, because she was in a really bad slump there. So Natasha Howard, she only had 7 points, but she had 10 rebounds. She also had 2 blocks. She was 3 for 6 from the floor. Aaliyah Boston was 7 for 11, and she was 1 for 2 from the foul line. She had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. She had 2 blocks. I already said Natasha had and she had a steal. Kelsey Mitchell, she shot very well, 50% from the floor overall and from 3. So she was 9 for 18. And you see, Kelsey Mitchell's taking 18 shots, and you have people on Chicago that should be their leading scorers taking 8 shots. Elizabeth Williams took the most shots, and she took 12. So you had Mitchell taking 18, Cunningham took 10, Boston took 11, Lexie Hull took 9. Those are the kind of numbers you need in shots taken. And you can just see the difference. So let's see here. Boston had 15 points. I did that. Okay. Mitchell, 26. She had 8 assists. So that's close to a double-double as a fill-in point guard. And she had 3 rebounds. So Sophie Cunningham shot just as well. She was 50% overall and from 3. She took 2 less attempts at threes, but she made 1 less. So she was 3 for 6. She had, let's see, a steal, a turnover, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. Chloe Bibby, she wasn't able to hit any of the threes that she put up in this game, which that's sad to see because Chloe Bibby was a Valkyrie, and that's our team here in Northern California. We were sorry to see her go, but hopefully she will catch on. She seems to be a fan favorite there, which that's good. She was a fan favorite here in Golden State too. Timpson, 7 points. She went to the line 3 times, made all 3, and then she was 2 for 3 from the floor. So she's definitely coming on. You can see her abilities picking up steam. She had 7 rebounds, especially under the board. She's really strong under the boards. And she had 2 steals. Dantas, 4 points. She was 2 for 8, 0 for 2 from 3. She had 3 rebounds and 2 assists. And then Brianna Turner got in the last 8 minutes of the game, and she didn't score. But she had 2 assists and 2 rebounds. Excuse me. So Indiana shot 47% overall. That's a huge difference from the last game. Huge. I think it was like 33%, if I remember correctly. It was in the low 30s. And then 3-point percentage was 39%. So much better turnaround for the Fever. And then I found out today that the Fever have signed Odyssey Sims. So she's a true point guard. So we'll see how that one works out. And that's it for this one. We got 5 games to cover because I'm doing this on Sunday. There's 5 games to cover tonight. So I'm going to be at this for a while. And the Fever are now 18-14, and Chicago is 8-23. So we'll see you next time.